Man. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, man. Let's test out some of these sound bits real quick. Let's test out some of the sound.
No, you don't force that for me. Come in and go answer that. Cause what you want to hear, if you the answer you want, you have to go and be for that.
Also, I might add some sound bites throughout the show. I gotta tangle this thing here. Oh, got my gaming headphones, my studio headphones all tangled up. There we go. Here we go. You already see the title. You already know what it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Late night stream, but we signing off at midnight. I'm making sure we are not going past midnight. I'm gonna make sure of that we are not going past midnight. We don't have that much topics. We don't have that much topics. Here we go. Sorry, I had to fix something real quick. Had to mute my mic. Anyway, I don't know if I should start off with this tweet, but this is funny. I love this. This tweet went viral today. And oh man, this is gonna be, I think this tweet will be the theme of today. Outside of just the title, it brings everything together. It brings everything together. This tweet here. This is gonna be the theme. Black men, please, I beg you, be a mentor. These boys out here are hurting. They need you. Damn, how many times niggas that had to hear that, man? That same bull. We always got to hear this ish, man. Also, hit one in the chat if the sound is straight. Hit one in the chat if the sound is straight. Just to make sure, because, you know. Yo, God, sometimes I be thinking my stuff is straight, but I got to be humble. And I always said I got to stay off Twitter, but I had to add this. I was like, this is hilarious. This is a funny post. This is a funny post. I'm like, man, there's no way we are still asking this, doing this BS. Black men, we need mentors. These young boys are hurting. They still doing this same ish, bro. That same BS, man. When I saw that tweet, I started laughing. I was like, no. Man, I saw that. I was like, man.
No, you don't force that for me. Come in and go answer that. Cause what you want to hear, if you the answer you want, you have to go and be for that.
Sorry. It's too late. It's literally, you're gonna see one of the comments. He put it perfectly. You're gonna see it later. He said, asking black men to fix this problem now, the black men that did decent in their life, is literally like asking a doctor to put a Band-Aid on a cancerous tumor. Like, you're asking the doctor to put a Band-Aid on the kid's arm, but it's really on the kid's head, but there's literally a tumor that that needs to be removed. And to actually, even if you were to remove that tumor from the brain, it would be really risky. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. It's nuts, honestly, to still be asking that in 2024. Black men, please, I urge you. And this bitch had the audacity to talk about, oh my god, I'm so disappointed in these responses. These black men don't want to mentor. Man, I ain't mentor. Man, please. We SYSBM, Mgtow, all of that. All of that, all that, all that, all that. We not cleaning up this mess, bro. We were not cleaning up this mess. Any dude, I always say, like I said, honestly, I don't even mind being around my people. I swear I don't. I don't. But at the same time, if a young black man asks me for advice in terms of what do I do? If I'm leaving the community, what should I do? Should I give back? I would literally tell that man, run and don't look back, or you'll turn into a pillar of salt. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. Look, man, I'm sorry, but no. Just no. Just not, it's just no. We can't be doing this anymore. I'm sorry. But that's gonna be the theme of this show. Just that tweet. Just that tweet. Oh man. So I do got a couple of videos. I got a couple of, ooh, this is beautiful. Ooh, man, this is beautiful. I got a couple of things I want to show. Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. I got a couple of things on my Twitter that I got saved up for the normies. Hmm. Should we go here? Because I found this guy's page on Twitter. I like this guy. He had made a Pookie diagram that I like. He had a Pookie diagram. Like he like made yeah, or like the prototypes of black men. It's freaking perfect. So like he has this right here. So this is what he made. He made the conscious, like the types of black men that you see in the community. So he uses consciously this guy as the prototype, the conscious. So that's similar to when we talk about the trad con artists. So right here, he says the conscious, but they're really con artists. We have these guys in the community, you know, the Brother Polites of the world, the Umar Johnsons, to a lesser extent, Tariq Nasheed to a lesser extent. You know what I mean? Young Pharaoh, right? These people, these are con. Uh, they masquerade as conscious, but they're con artists. So right here, he says the conscious black man right here. Con artists are skilled manipulators who deceive others through persuasion, leading them to believe something that isn't true. These crafty individuals exploit confidence tricks to achieve their goals. The goal is never to enlighten or provide any tangible solution. It's usually for selfish interests, which can include self aggrandizement. Number two, attention. Number three, financial donations, 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 more donations, aka Umar Johnson. Okay. These types of men are quite intelligent because they understand what the demographic they are appealing to needs. They can sell a false belief of identity or a claim to be in support of a controversial group just so they can be seen as woke and or enlightened. They make the ignorant think they know something that others don't, but it's really just a facade of consciousness. which AKA con artistry, right? So you see how I've, gifts, more gifts. Like I say this, Umar Johnson, I find him funny though. And he actually does put some decent information out there. He's actually like when we talk about, how like now people are picking up on how these teachers be drugging these kids and the parents are allowing it. Like Dr. Umar Johnson put me on to game on that. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm talking about when I was in high school. He put me on to game on that. Oh man, shout out to you, Garrett. Man, thank you, man. I gotta put a sound. I gotta download a sound bite for that, man. But man, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ninja need that. Trust me, ninjas, we need that. Thank you, man. I appreciate that $10. But Umar Johnson, he put me onto game. He put me on. I can't. I'm not gonna lie. He put me onto game on how literally because people are just gonna look at those videos through a black lens. But what people don't understand, you got to look at those videos through. Okay, what are female teachers usually doing to a boy in their class that they can't quote unquote control? You know what I mean? And then on top of that, if the boy is raised by a single mother and she doesn't know the ins and outs of things, and now instead of just fixing it the proper way, now we're shooting this kid up with drugs, Ritalin, right? All these ADHD meds, which you look at uh the makeups of those quote unquote medicines is basically cocaine. So he did put me on to that, but Umar Johnson, he's bogus. He's we got to keep it a buck. He's bogus. He's bogus for that school. Like I used to be a guy that used to be like, look, Umar Johnson, he's a smart person, great speaker. Just push your message and just and keep it pushing. Whether I agree or not, just he's a gifted speaker. We'll leave it at that. He's educated. We'll leave it at that. Just you know, do your message and move on. But he's always the tomfoolery with this guy, and on top of that, he's bogus for the school donations. The school that's never we're still waiting on that school. And if he was serious, he would have been doing online classes or online courses or something like that. Even though that would be a major grift, but it would show that he's serious about starting off with something. But we already know. We already know what that means. But I like this guy's Twitter account. I need you guys to follow this guy. He has all these grand diagrams. Oh shoot. Somebody in the comment section said consciously, that's a whole nother story, bro. This guy is a major simp, major con artist. And it was funny though. All the black women were like really like simping for this guy. So you guys just don't like the message. Then they find out his wife or what is this his girlfriend? they found out who his wife or girlfriend was, and people were like, "Wait a minute, hold on for a second. Let me search consciously wife." Hey yo, when they found out his wife looked like this, I was, man, that was hilarious. Ain't that funny, man? Pro black this, pro black that. Hey yo, man, it's the same thing that happened to another pro black. Uh, what's that guy's name on YouTube? Really dark brother. Not as dark as me, but very, very dark skinned brother. But he's like really older. But he has like a Mexican wife, and like his Mexican wife is pale as hell, like super pale. I tell you, man, them pro blacks be funny, man. Those pro blacks be full of it, man. Yeah, we got consciously doing all that simping for black women. Then you do the research. This is his wife. Oh man, what race is your wife, my brother? My African Pan African uh black woman is God, right? But so he says my wife is not a white woman. She's half black and half white. Uh homie, I don't know, man. I don't know about that, but say what you. It reminds me of like remember when Tyrese got married to Samantha Lee Gibson, and the first his caption was like "My African Queen," and he only put that there because he knew people were gonna ask questions because she was very like his second wife was very fair skinned. Samantha, because Samantha is very fair skinned. Not saying, but she could definitely pass up as a different race. She can definitely pass as a different race. Like let me look up when Tyrese, let me see. There's a perfect picture of these two together. Tyrese and Samantha Lee in the movie together in the movie theater. I gotta see this one, right? Oh, this is the perfect. I got you guys right here. Open image, a new tab. Boom, boom, boom. Right here. This is the perfect picture of Tyrese and Samantha Lee. Cause I always say that particularly dark skinned ninjas, they always say that black men like um pogs, overweight white women. And I'm not saying there's nothing to that, but the other component that they're leaving out with that dynamic is a lot of those overweight white women be having places to stay. So if they're like broke, if you got a broke ninja, right? He'll find a pog to lay uh underneath because she has a place to stay. That's the other like really important component that they leave out of it. But I'm telling you, I made videos, shorts about. I'm telling you, when it comes to girls that look like this right here, I'm telling you, ninjas love women that look like this. I'm telling you, with this specific complexion, and she could be chubby, she could be skinny. I'm talking about particularly dark skinned ninjas. They love women that have this complexion, bro. And she could be half black, she could be Hispanic. He said, "Are you sure about that?" I'm telling you, yo, I'm telling you, man. This particular complexion, I'm telling you, dark skinned ninjas, they like women that look like this, dog. They don't like to admit it, but the proof is in the pudding. Every time black men get a little bit of fame, they get a girl that has that specific complexion. You know what I mean? Uh, look at I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example. Watch this. Who's that? The CB, the DB at Colorado. What's his name? Anybody know his? I'm blanking on his name. The guy, the young man from Colorado, on Dion's team. The guy that can play DB and wide receiver. What's his name? I'm blanking on his name. And I'm telling you, with that specific skin complexion, they be having mad tattoos and all that. And they be looking like straight straggles, but dark skinned ninjas be lifting girls up like that in the air. I'm gonna give you another example because especially when they get money, that's the type of girls that they be going for. Cat Williams was 100% right on that. Like he hit the nail on the head on that. Oh man, what's his name? Let me see. Dion Sanders. Uh, Colorado State DB slash wide receiver. Travis Hunter. That's what his name is. So Travis Hunter. Let me show you guys something. This is Travis Hunter recently engaged fiance. His recent fiance. Guess what she look it's I'm telling you guys. People keep saying it's just pogs. No, it's more like when you see a lot of I'm saying a lot of black men that you see with overweight white women is because she has a place to stay. I'm telling you. It's more to it than just, oh, black men just like pogs. I'm telling you this right here. This this is it. This is what they're looking for. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right here. This is what they're looking for. This, I'm telling you, dark skinned ninjas, particularly with dark skinned ninjas, get a little bit of fame, get a little bit of clout, or even like because in middle school, what happens in middle school, it like girls like that, they might not be able to get a girl like that in middle school or high school. That's why they make sure they get themselves on the football team, the basketball team, so they can get a girl that specific complexion. Not necessarily white. Somebody like right in the middle. You can't tell if she's Latina. You can't tell if she's Armenian. You can't tell if she's mixed. You know what I mean? Girls like this get more shine from dark skinned ninjas than the actual half breeds. Right? I'm telling you, this is a perfect science. Yeah, Travis Hunter, man. I'm telling you, it's always the same specific complexion. And look, and I'm not judging. I'm just telling you this is what dark skinned ninjas like. They keep saying like the pogs and all that. I'm not saying there's nothing to it, but it's really this. This is what they're looking for. Because as soon as they get some paper, they're not gonna be with a pog. As soon as a black man really starts putting himself on his feet, he's not gonna be with a fat white woman. So I'm telling you, once black men get on their feet, these be the complexion type girls that they go for. And she's not gonna be overweight for the most part. He said, "Stop talking about the Son of God, Chris." What's good, Byro, man? Man, I already told you. Jesus Christ was Mgtow, and conservatives don't like to hear that. But I'm like, look, Jesus. If you look at the story of Jesus, man, you look at what he did, what he stood for. Never was meant. Never. I'm talking about in the stories. It's not even. It don't even show nothing like that. He was even flirting with a 304. All it shows was one time some 304 was washing his feet, but they made it. But the way they wrote it in the Bible, they made it like, nah, that ain't nothing. That you don't even need people like. And then when you even address that, people like, you don't even got to work. Don't worry about that. That just shows you. It really should show young men something that really 304s are not supposed to be the priority. Positioning yourselves in front of women is not supposed to be the priority. But it was interesting when it's interesting when you really look at the story of Jesus Christ, right? People would just follow him. He wouldn't follow people. People would just follow him. He made his own path. He was a trailblazer. And women were pretty. And what's crazy is he saved a lot of hoes, actually. He saved a lot of hoes. But it was pretty inconsequential to his story, to his purpose. They were just side quests. And the women were coming to him. He wasn't chasing hoes. And the woman that he ended up seeing were hoes that he already knew was coming. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. This is why I laugh, particularly when the conservatives talk crazy on the Mgtows, on SYSBM, right? And these people. But when you really look at the relationship between Jesus Christ and the woman in his stories, it's very interesting. People got to really start rereading the scriptures on that end. But it's interesting, like you know, because you know Christians are not they don't read their Bible. They just don't. They don't. They like I know Muslims that know the Bible better than Christians, bro. So like you, so it's you know that's what it is on that. Anyway, let me. I'm not mind you. I'm not knocking Travis Hunter for what he likes. Trust me, I'm not. Like I look, man. Never mind. Let me not get personal. But look, man, dark skin ninjas, they really like girls like this. This is the one. Like when they get some money, they get some paper. These are the girls that they lift up in the air, right? Oh man, let me give you one more example before I move on. Let me give you one more example before I move on. But I got this girl saved, like way down on my ish. But let's see if I can find that girl. But I'm telling you. Let's see if I can find that girl though. She got to be all the way down there. And mind you, she could be also if the girl if she's the right complexion for that dark skin brother, she could be a single mom and he'll still take her. Like what I'm talking about with no question. Like she could be a whole single mom. I'm talking about 2 kids, 3 kids. He'll still take it on. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is what it's not pogs. Trust me, it's not. Pogs are inconsequential on that end compared to that. I gotta find this girl because she's the prototype. I showed her on my one of my live streams before, but she is the perfect prototype. She is the perfect prototype. And once you see her, she's gonna have the tattoos and all that. She's gonna have the tattoos. She's and once you see her, you're gonna be like, I get it. Oh man, hopefully I didn't remove her, but I shouldn't have removed her. Here we go. You ready, guys? I'm telling you, particularly women like that look like this. I'm telling you, you got the tats, you got the fair skin, she got the look, she got the straggle look on her, but she's not like she's not. You can't really tell if she's black. You can't tell if she's probably white. You- you- I'm telling you, this is it right here. This is the prototype. This is the prototype for street ninjas. This is the prototype for street ninjas. Right? These are girls like that are the ones. These are the girls that look like that. Those are the ones that be saying, um, I only date street ninjas. If not street ninjas, then okay, I'm done with street ninjas. I'm gonna date a policeman, or I'm gonna date a fireman, or I'm gonna date a military. And I'm like, how is that even better? So basically, like a regular dude in her mind is somebody that's a policeman, fireman, or military. Bottom line. Bottom line. And I remember when I did the profile check on her, when I did the Instagram check on her, she proved my point with her post. Like girls that look like this. This is what ninjas like right here. Not pogs. Ninjas like pogs because they broke. Right? And they have fetishes that they gotta get rid of, right? Let me see. Cause and on top of that, she looks like she has a shape on her body. Like a girl like this, wherever she work at, the ninjas that work with her, she can't shake them off, even if she had a stick. Even if she had literally like a stick to shake ninjas off, like a actual police nightstick to ward off the ninjas away. A police night, she still wouldn't be able to wave them all off. Women that look like this. Oh, you see this? Yeah, this is the post I was talking about. When she like a girl like this, she'll say, "Oh, I'm done with hood ninjas." And then she goes, and then look at the caption. What she says is back to the army man or cop or firefighter. So I'm telling you, they're so predictable. Women like that, a normal person, when they say, "Oh, I've dated an average dude before and it didn't work," they're talking about somebody that was in the army, a cop, or a firefighter, and these are like guys that are actually red flags to date. Like these are red flags in terms of if you are a woman and you're saying, "Oh, I'm dating a cop or I'm dating a man in the military," she doesn't realize the danger that she's in. Like a girl like her is not going to give a plumber a chance or an electrician. The red bone straggle, exactly. The red bone straggle. Those are the ones that dark skinned ninjas like. I'm telling you, this is what it is. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let, let's move on. I could go on a whole rant on that end. A whole rant on that. Anyway, let's go back to my brother here because he had all these diagrams that were spot on. Very spot on. Very spot on diagrams. The bluck. Oh, I haven't seen this before. So right here, he has the bluck, which is, I guess, the black cuck. The black cuck. So he mixes the words together and calls him the bluck. So the bluck, aka the black cuck, he says this subcategory of black men that not only pedestalize black women but deify them. So here he brings up a tweet from one of these panderers. You know who these panderers are, right? So right here, you see a tweet. I'm happily married to a richly melanated black American born Pan African Garveyite woman from North Philadelphia. Y'all bunny hoppers can't tell me ish. The black woman is God. So basically, you know, those dudes. Black woman is God. These type of dudes. He says right here, they've taken being pro-black to the next level of reverence and worship of black women. The subcategory of black men will complain about black men in interracial relationships, but celebrate black women in the same type of relationship and justify their insanity with illogical statements. These men tend to enjoy cleaning up after other men to satisfy an odd fetish for honor. So, the perfect example, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Perfect example. Perfect example. Need I say more? Need I say more? Right? Trying to think of somebody else. Oh, we got so the Oreo. So these are the ones where basically if you don't fit the stereotype, this is where black men or other black women are going to call you a Oreo if you don't fit the stereotype. So like this happens to me, not only by black people, it'll be by like other races of people calling me a Oreo and shit. They'll tell me that I'm not black enough because I'm not doing certain things. And you're just like, what? So right here, the Oreo. So right here, he said he says degenerate blacks believe in racial stereotypes and will use the word Oreo because you don't fit the racial stereotype of how they think a black person should act. This word simply means black outside and white inside. So right here you have a testimony from a black woman. She says, I have been called an Oreo several times in life when I was in school because of my academic performance and the way that I speak. Although those words were spoken towards me in an attempt to hinder my progress, most degenerate blacks have then right here we continue on. Most degenerate blacks have subconsciously ascribed all forms of decency and virtues to whiteness, and any black person that decides to live decently and virtuously is not black, quote unquote, black enough. Hence whitewashed, another term. Although Oreo is used as a slur, but in reality, it's a compliment because it signifies the fact you're intelligent enough to understand you don't have to embrace degeneracy simply because you're black. Also, Oreos are delicious. Nobody perpetuates and participates in blackness more than degenerate blacks. So I like this right here. So I guess I would fall under the Oreo category. The lame, that would be me. Actually, that would be me, the lame. So the lame. The lame is a word used to describe men and women that are socially awkward or boring. This doesn't necessarily mean they are defective, immature, or unsophisticated. It just means that those using the term perceive the individual activity as uninteresting. So that would be me because I'll tell you, I don't drink, I don't smoke, all that, and it's really hard for you to move up in the world if you're not doing drugs with certain people. You know what I mean? Especially especially if you're a person that doesn't have many talents, it's gonna be make it even extra hard if you don't have any talents to lean on so you can move up in the game. He continues on, if degenerates call you lame, it literally means you're doing something right because the only thing degenerates find exciting is degeneracy. Oh man, he's going in on the degenerates. He said there are people that struggle with shyness or are introverted, but these individuals are considered lame because they aren't exciting enough to be around. So basically, you're the opposite of a Pookie. He says the black community lacks the ability to show consideration to anyone that's not in active degenerate. These are facts, unfortunately. All right. So what's next? The nerd, the pick me, the divestors. So we could go. So we could end up the simp. Yeah, that's Russell Wilson right there. Yeah, that's the simp right there. So yeah, the plantation bro. The Pookie lover, that is definitely Nicki Minaj right there. Oh yes, yes. That is Nicki. Oh yes, yes. The failed swirler. Oh, that would be Nas's girlfriend, and that would be Kayla Nicole. That would be Kayla Nicole. Travis Kelsey's ex. Travis Kelsey's ex-girlfriend. That would be Kayla Nicole, the failed swirl. I know a lot of those. By the way, just putting you guys up on game real quick. A lot of the so-called pro-blacks that you see, particularly black women that claim to be pro-black now, the only reason why they're pro-black now is because being pro-white didn't work for them. Like I didn't see some of these people where they got exposed on Twitter. People would look through those supposedly pro-black women's old tweets, and then it'll be like all the tweets are them like basically crushing on white dudes, and they get because I didn't see these girls in high school too thirsting after the Chads, and it didn't really work out for him. And because it didn't work out for him, now all of a sudden they're pro-black. You know what I mean? So so men too, like uh they try to fit in and it didn't work and now they're pro-black. you know. So, that's what it is. Hell yes, the Pharaoh trap. That woman wants a man with status. He said, "Hey, this list is all about me." Oh, I see a Bible verse here. Acts 10:34-35. Opening his mouth, Peter said, I most certainly understand now that God is not one to show partiality, but in every nation, the man who fears him and does what is right is welcome. But okay, so with that verse, a lot of conservatives think they fall under that verse, but they don't. Like, okay, when I consider righteous people, right? You know what I mean? The actual righteous people. You know who I think about? I think about Cat Williams. I think about Allen Iverson. I think about I think about Corey Holcomb. Or I think about people that have put their life on the line or put their reputation on the line to speak the truth. For like if we're and it's not like and there's no uh and it's not there's no facade, meaning people put messages out there, but really it's hate. It's hate. And that's why they're putting the message out there because they're scorned. You know what I mean? So off that, there's very few that's actually doing real righteous work. Very few. Very few. You know, I would like to say there's a lot of people in the RP space that are doing righteous work, in my opinion. Particularly the people SYSBM, you got the people of Mgtows, right? Um, the PUAs, unfortunately, they're a real black mark in this community, in my opinion. they it's worse. They're worse than the incels because the incels I don't even really consider them part of the RP. I don't. They're not RP. They're low key really purple pill if you really think about it. Those are like incels are just guys that refuse to like these are guys that just refuse to pay for sex in any terms. They believe that their relationship life will always struggle because they don't look a certain way or they're not a certain height or they're not a certain stature or status. So they've just reserved to just self-pity because for them to get what they want, even to get just a sliver of a piece of it, they're going to have to work extremely harder than the average man just to get trash. And they're just like, nah, I can't accept that reality. So, you know, these are guys that just accept their reality, which to me is not that bad in my opinion, but the PUAs, unfortunately, in my opinion, the PUAs are ruining the game. So you see, so some people, please give Jay Badia, the advocator, please give this guy a follow on Twitter. This guy, he got the best, the pro black simp, Umar Johnson. Yep. Oh, the Pukisha, Suki Hana, weakness accountability. Oh man, that's perfect. The Pookie, yeah, NBA young boy, perfect example. Wow. What do you call the F boy Drake? Perfect. Man, this guy's diagrams, man, it's spot on. It's spot on, man. This is man. Give this guy a follow because I just saw his page today, and I'm like, or I think last night or today. Perfect, spot on. So anyway, now that we got some people in here, wait, hold on. Oh, I don't know if my numbers are messing with me, but he said they refuse to be Chad and Tyrone and also hate the RP. Because really, yeah, the incels, they don't really like the RP like that. It's almost like how they just assume that they assume that like Andrew Tate is like the king of the RP, where actually a lot of people in the RP do not like Tate at all. If they actually did their research, But like I said, most people are very lazy when it comes to researching these kind of things. They're very lazy, very lazy. Like they if you actually had a girl, right, with actual decent intent in terms of a female researcher with integrity, which is very rare. Okay. You had a female researcher with the integrity. Even if she had her biases, she's like, okay, let me see what this space is about. But anytime you see like women have their take on this space, they always end up saying the same thing. They always refer to Andrew Tate, Just Pearly, right? These are the people that they put up in the air to represent all of us. And if they actually did just like 10 more minutes of research, they'd realize it's not that at all. Like at all. And by the way, the other day when I made the video of Michael Nolas interviewing Just Pearly, guys, I already did the video with Just Pearly. I already told you she's a fraud, but I was just using that video to prove how much of a cuck Michael Nolas is and how harmful he is to really the conservative spot. The conservatives really should not be raising this guy in the air like that. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But anyway, man, yeah, give Jay Badia the advocator, give this guy a follow. This guy, man, that that guy is spot on. I don't know if he made uh those diagrams specifically, but all right. So let me pull up a video real quick. Let me pull up a video because I did a video on this today. I did a video on this today. I did a video on this today. Or sorry, I released the video of this today, but this is very interesting. This is very interesting. So right here you have a video of a girl, sorry, a woman. So mind you, this woman, this is a before we even look at her video, let's look at her profile. So you already know what you're dealing with. So we already know what we're dealing with. Somer, her name is Somer Tothill. Um, Tothill. She refers to herself as a feminist writer. So, oh my God. So when especially when you're dealing with like a feminist that's like over the age of 35, 40, and she's from what? She's Australian too. Man, you already know you're dealing with somebody living in straight cuckoo land. You're dealing with a ultra libtard feminazi type lady. So beware already. You already look at her profile. Need I say more? But let's look at the video right here. Oop, my bad, guys. Let's go to the post. So let me refresh it so I can start from the beginning. So here you have an article where she's gonna be mad that men basically want to be fathers. Like I kid you not. So the study shows that men are more likely than women to want kids, study says, but has that always been true? And she's basically going to use that study to show that the men that want to be fathers, they actually don't want to be fathers because it's not that hard to be a father in her mind compared to a mother. Hence why she thinks that it's harder to be a mom's. Therefore, women shouldn't really see motherhood. That's why women don't really see motherhood as that appealing more than fatherhood. And she's basically gonna just throw it back on the men and just say, basically, because we're not a woman, we're not allowed to. Uh, we're not allowed to want to be a father. You just take a listen. Just take a listen.
Are women all baby crazy, or is it possible that men want kids more than women want kids? New research has confirmed that it's easier to want to raise children when you don't actually expect to be the one doing the raising. More than 20% of the women said they never wanted to have kids, but only 15% of the men said the same. Meanwhile, 57% of the men said they did want to have kids someday versus 45% of the women. I love this observation. Media and pop culture often portray young women as baby-seeking, family-craving, biological clock-ticking time bombs. And this professor of gender and economics said this is a very, very strange perspective because children have always been an enormous amount of work for women. Yeah, we knew. In fact, it was women who fought for birth control in the first place. And these findings mirror data on fertility intentions from studies going back decades. It's almost like the people whose lives are less likely to be interrupted or negatively impacted by having kids are the more likely to want kids the most, but also to spread lies about who actually wants to raise the children. Are women all baby crazy, or is it possible that men want kids?
I told you I wasn't lying. I told you I wasn't lying. Like I said, they're mad at you if you're not in the kid's life. They're mad at you if you want to be a father. Like it's just like you're literally like you're literally looking at this just like wow, just wow. That's all you can say is wow. Oh man, hold on for a sec. He said, "Aren't they the ones telling men to grow up and have children?" Like I said, that's the problem when you're dealing with women. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. So she's mad that men want to be fathers. I mean, because when I did the video on it earlier, I dropped it today, and I really now have to call into question. I'm gonna do another live stream probably tomorrow midday. I don't know if I'm gonna do that midday, but probably will. And it's going to be titled, "Do Women Really Love Kids?" Because I don't think they do. I that's been my opinion since I was a kid. I think there's a lot of women out there that hate kids, meaning we when we talk about they say that women have a nurturing spirit or they're natural like they're natural nurturers. I don't believe that. And this was even before I was RP. I never really believed in that in terms of when you talk about maternal instinct and all these things that we subscribe to women. But now that I'm looking at these stats, and now I'm looking at it like this. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Men want kids more than women. So now I got to really take into question because clearly you see there's nothing wrong with women not wanting to be mothers. And it's clear that every time, and then when you look at the comment section, is basically women complaining that men are not women. So, and because that men are not women, and there's no changes to their bodies because the kids are not coming out of us physically in terms of we're not the incubators, women are, right? They're mad. They're basically mad that they're women and then we're men and we're different. And you're just like, so now I have to call into question anytime that a woman gets pregnant. Now I gotta ask, okay, why did she keep this one? I used to think that Corey Holcomb was harsh for saying that, but now the older I get and the more I hear feminists talk, the more I hear feminists talk, that I really be asking, okay, why out of all the ones you killed, but now all of a sudden you want to keep this one. Okay, now you want to get pregnant. So you're complaining about how much changes it does to your body, how you're doing most of the work and men are not doing nothing. Fine. I'll take your word for it. So now all of a sudden, you're 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay, now all of a sudden you want kids. Why do you want why? And so now I gotta ask. Anytime if a woman has a kid, I gotta ask, okay, why does she keep that one? I have to ask that because now the way all the studies are coming out, the way women are talking, the way they talk about men uh being fathers is like, damn, do you guys like kids? Because I done heard female teachers when I was a kid literally say, I hate kids. I've heard female teachers say that when I was a kid. And I was like, why are you a teacher? I've heard female teachers say that. I've heard them say this stuff. How much they hate kids. They'll be beefing with kids, bro. I'm talking about these women will be 30 plus years old, 40 plus years old, talking crazy about somebody that ain't even turned 7 or 8 years old yet. Talking crazy about the dude or the little girl. Having beef with kids. Meanwhile, a lot of the men that I grew up that I saw teaching, they had they didn't look at the kids as rivals. It'll be like a kid doing something stupid, and then yeah, they'll send him out, for punishment or anything. But then I'll see them laugh about it later and be like, "Oh, that little motherfucker crazy." But they're not. It's not a rival. He's not looking at the kid as a rival. That's a sign of true leadership. This is why, like, we need to have like I believe in this. I believe there needs to be some kind of incentive to where we need more male teachers because female teachers aren't it, dog. I'm sorry. People might disagree with me on that, but I think for the most part, having all these female teachers, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is my opinion. I could be wrong, but having it mostly female teachers it doesn't work. It doesn't work because I don't think they love kids. I think most, particularly most American women, I think they hate kids. And you can tell by when they do get pregnant, it's clearly they're using they're it's like it's very calculated, meaning, okay, they know how like the child support system works. They know how, okay, if I get this kid from this guy, I'm gonna get this money. And if I put it on this guy, then I'm gonna get this money. Like, okay, let's take for example Dre and Michelle, right? The and Jalen Green, that dynamic. How can Dre and Michelle say that she loves her kid, that she's pregnant with? Because it's clear what she's trying to do. She's going to use that baby as a payday to garnish Jalen Green's check, but nobody's ever gonna put Drea in check. Even more than her being a predator, I look at it as, look, she does not. How can she really look her baby in the face and say that she loves him when clearly she was just using that being pregnant by Jalen Green, using it as a last an extra way to get paid by the system. How can she really look at her son or daughter that comes out of that? How can she really say that? How can she say, "Oh, I love my kid"? She doesn't. There's no way. Pyro says, "I'm not even a father, and I'm more protective of my friends and family, kids, and love them like a good uncle." I'll say, look, I done seen some dudes out here. Like, I don't think women. I think the only time a woman will even like it's very like for me, right? I was lucky to have a counselor that in high school or or middle school, but particularly in high school, I was lucky to have a really down to earth counselor where she was cool. You know what I mean? She didn't even if I had problems with certain things, she didn't dismiss it. She didn't dismiss the problems, right? I had like a very cool counselor, right? But most counselors are not like that, right? I ran across a kid recently playing soccer with this guy. Dude's the best. We sometimes you do these pickup runs and whatnot. Sometimes you'll meet some people that sometimes they play some of the people you run into, they play some semi-pro, some of them they play pro, some of them they play college. You know what I mean? Some of them try to stay in shape, some of them former high school championship winners and all that stuff. But I ran across this dude and he was talking about, "Oh man, I'm still trying to make it." And I asked him, "Okay, how old are you?" He said he's 22. I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you still can do." He was like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna move to Cali or move to New York." I'm like, "Did you go to college?" He was like, "Nah, I didn't, because I didn't have the grades for it." And anybody that knows how soccer works in America, it's really it's an ass backwards system. That's why America's never gonna win a World Cup. But anyway, I told him, "So you never okay, so if you couldn't do D3, D2, D1, did you ever try JUCO, junior college?" There's a lot of junior college soccer out there. And he was like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "You never heard of JUCO?" He was like, "Nope." And I'm like, so people looked at this guy, right? Guy was about what, 6'1", 6 feet, 6'1", skilled, perfect body type, very how do I say it? Very lanky, but he's strong, meaning he's not gonna be susceptible to injuries, and however he ends up growing is not gonna hinder his health. And he's an attacker. So I'm literally looking at this guy. I'm like, so they just let this guy just I'm like, so men and women just let this guy just and there was not because I know how most of these counselors, they're all women. Nobody ever told him, like, look, you can do JUCO and literally play in New York and use that as a stepping stone to go to a D2, a D1. Because you can go from, if you do well in JUCO, you can go straight to D1 after JUCO. You do your 2 years and it's a community college. Take some simple courses, but use that JUCO to put yourself in a better position. I'm like, there's plenty of JUCOs in New York that you could. I'm like, so nobody told you about that route. You know what I mean? Because not everybody can go to an academy trial and all that stuff in America. Like like you could easily go to any JUCO. You got D3 JUCO, D2 JUCO, D1. You can go from a JUCO and go to straight. I'm talking about from any division of JUCO and end up being in D2 or D1 after your 2 years in JUCO. And in his skill level, he'll definitely be confident. He'll definitely play. I'm like, so nobody put him on to game. But like I said, a lot of these counselors, what happens is if you're not, if the counselor just simply just doesn't like you, she's not gonna try. She's not gonna put in the she's not gonna she's just not gonna she's not gonna put in the effort. Like, especially when you're dealing with female teachers, female counselors, these people, the crime is not you being a troublemaker. That's not the crime. If you are a troublemaker, but you make the female teacher laugh, if you make her feel involved, quote unquote, involved in your jokes and your pranks, she'll love you. She'll think, oh, you're not doing anything bad, even though you're a troublemaker and you're a disruptor in the class. But if you make her, quote unquote, feel good, you can get away with it. You know what I mean? Now, opposite, I like to bring up my math teacher from junior year. He thought I was the best thing ever because I had an A in that class, but I would never talk, right? Because I already knew the kids in the class, whatever, and they would be all up to shenanigans and all this stuff, and they'll be doing their thing, but I would never say anything. I would, he would, and he would notice, and he never held that against me. He was one of the few teachers, Male teachers are the only, because the problem is if you're a person that doesn't really like to talk in class, right? Or doesn't like to quote unquote participate. Male teachers are not, most of them, they won't hold that against you, meaning they'll joke about it, but they're not gonna make you like you're some bad guy. If you're dealing with a female teacher and because you're not participating, depending on who the female teacher is, that could end up ruining your reputation, depending on who the female teacher is, or if you're dealing with a very emotional male teacher. Depending on who that is, that can end up messing up your whole reputation across all the teachers because those teachers be gossiping. You see, Rogue Dalek said, women want the attention and sympathy of having a child, but not the inconvenience. Women want to be married, but not be a wife. Exactly. This is why I don't think women love kids. I really, or their kids. I really don't. Because how can you look at like a Drea Michelle, Jalen Green situation, or the situation that Anthony Edwards found himself in with the IG model? Now all of a sudden now all of a sudden she don't believe in abortion. How can she really say that she loves that kid? There's no way. You don't love the kid. You just you're using your own kid as a paycheck. There's no way you love him. No way. He said, yeah, women love the achievements, but not the commitment. So yeah, we gonna go into this though tomorrow. Because we're gonna go into this tomorrow. Most likely. I hope, because I'm trying to do that live show tomorrow by the middle of the day. You know what I mean? But I wanted just a quick preview into that. But anyway, let's go to the tweet of the hour. Let's go to the tweet of the hour. This is the ultimate. This is where when Mgtows, when the SY, but particularly the SYSBMs, right? When SYSBM dudes, when we see tweets like this is now our time to shine. This is Mgtow's time to shine when we see tweets like this. Now, anybody that's black, we all know, we see this. We always hear this shit every year from black women. Black men. I'm gonna read the tweet. Black men, please, I beg you, be a mentor. These boys out here are hurting. They need you. Every year with this same shit, bro. That same bull. Every year. Oh, these black men need him. Bruh. And I remember I did a reply of the tweet back. I said, look, men don't fall for this shit. Now I said we're done. Like, no, no, we're not doing this anymore. We are not doing this shit anymore. They need mentors. No, they need a father. Which, they would have had one if their mother didn't run them away. Let's keep it a buck. It's like, thank you. They need their daddy, not us. Where's the daddy at? Oh, but he's not there. Why is he not there? Because he abandoned us. Okay, where did you meet the dad? And then this is when they start getting mad because they don't want to admit that really the only reason why the kid is there and the reason why she decided to keep that one was because she had feelings for the dude. She thought the dude was gonna stay if she decided to keep that one, even though she knew he had another woman. they do, like, women will do these things, right? Or they'll have a decent dude, they whatever, get impregnated by the guy and then be like, I'm done with this guy. He's better off dead than alive, so I'm gonna just put this man on child support. and they continue to use tactics via the family court system, the child support system, to separate the father from the kids, particularly the sons. And then now, all of a sudden, he needs a mentor. No, we're not doing this no more. We're not doing this. So you're gonna see. Oh, and this, I love this. I love this guy right here. Save yourselves, black men. This guy, Jason Terry, off Twitter. And this is the perfect response. This is the perfect response. So you have a guy right here, a regular black dude. Can I get your number? And a lot of black men been through this in high school or college or middle school. You get called a lame ass ninja, right? Then the street ninjas, the degenerates, come through. They get knocked up by the degenerates. The girl goes back to the pookie, talk about I'm pregnant, and the guy was already a deadbeat to begin with. He was never gonna be there. She knew that, but she still put that out there. He leaves. Now she has all these kids, and she's talking about mentor my kids. and and the guys are like, the fuck, ask their pops. Then she makes a tweet like this: black man, please, I beg you, be a mentor. These boys are out here, they hurting. Nah. And you see, look at her response back. She says, you're sick for this. You should consider using your talents elsewhere. Associating me, who has never made mention of any of these things, with that narrative is absurd. Oh man, but I remember he had some reply backs that I liked. This man, he had some reply backs. Oh no, I don't think that's it. But like, look, look, lady, if you're listening, no, we're not doing this. we're just not doing this. Black men, if you're listening to this, run and don't look back. Run and don't know. We're not. RP Love, Red Pill Luffy said, "I'm not mentoring Lil Glocktavius. I'm not mentoring Lil NBA young boy, because I done met these ninjas, especially when they grow up." Oh man. Like, I done met these ninjas, especially when they grow up. People don't understand, like, the final product of being around the products, the product of the wretched club bitches, right? Like Corey Holcomb likes to say, the product of wretched club bitches, the offspring of wretched club bitches. And you see how they grow up, and you see the final, you see them in middle school, you see them in high school, and you see how they end up, and you're just like, there's not. What is a mentor going to do for that person? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. But yeah. So right here, then obviously you're gonna see some 304s, the fake pro-black 304s. She says, sorry, your request is being met with excuses by uncaring and mean men. She says a lot of these men don't care. A lot of these men enjoy seeing women and children suffering. Sadly, women have always had to step in where men fell to. It's not fair, but someone has to care. This is why I don't like talking to hoes about this shit. And this is also another psyops. This is what you this is something that has never made sense to me. They'll always say, "Oh, the dad's never there, but he's not there." I'm like, okay, so you were the primary parent in raising these kids, but you're still blaming the dad, even though he was never there. How does that make sense? Can a single is a single father allowed to blame the absentee mother if the kids that he raised end up not being shit? Does a single father have the luxury to still blame the absentee mother, the most likely drug-ridden mother? Because when you're dealing with like a single father, right? Or if you're dealing with a man that actually won full custody, or you're dealing with a man that had to divorce his that had to initiate divorce, you're that means that woman was so like outrageously bad as a human being. Do single fathers have the luxury to still blame the absentee mothers if the kids that he's raising primarily end up not being shit? Only women still have that luxury. They'll have primary custody. They'll be primarily raising the dudes and they'll the kids. The kids will end up in jail, not being shit, end up being gay or whatever. And the absentee father, right? The so-called absentee father still gets all the blame. I'm like, but he wasn't there. If he wasn't there, right? Like you said, okay, I'll take your word for it. He wasn't there, even though that's false because most likely she alienated the kid from the father. But fuck it, we'll take your word for it. If he was never there, how is he getting most of the blame? Bruh, that's like that's like okay. Like imagine you have a like that's like blaming. Never mind. But I'll leave that alone. I was gonna bring up something messed up, but to constantly they're always talking about the absentee. No, you raised the kid, right? You were the primary caretaker. It's it's your fault. You were doing the raising. How is it still the man that wasn't there? How is it still his fault? How is it still his fault? This is ridiculous. But that's the psyops they've ran basically. So anytime a dude does bad or ends up not being shit, we're still blaming the father that was never there. Bro, we're just straight up blaming ghosts. Anything to avoid asking women the tough questions. And these and it's not even those are not even tough questions. All you got to do is be like, okay, all right, you said the dad was never there. Okay, did he well, so did you come to the table with 50-50 custody? What is the custody agreement looking like? And just by asking what's the custody agreement? And if he had to fight to get 50-50, I'm talking about you were going against the man getting 50-50 custody. When you're looking at the Jenny Mai situation, young Jeezy, he's literally filing for he's filing for joint custody and she's fighting against it. She like just off that fact alone, Jeannie Mai is disqualified from ever calling young Jeezy a deadbeat because you're literally fighting against him for not you're fighting him for wanting to be in the kid's life. You're fighting him for it. You're fighting him. And then once you get primary custody, you're going to talk about he's a deadbeat. But you fought him for primary custody, even though he came to the table and said, look, 50-50, we'll do 50-50 custody, which most men do. They'll file joint custody. That's why I tell dudes, I always say this. I tell dudes this. I'll file is the Tommy Sotomayor technique. Either file for full custody and make sure you get that full custody, or just give that girl the child support check and then just leave that family alone. Don't do nothing else more. Don't do nothing else more. Just give her the check and just walk away. Just give her the check and just walk away. Because clearly, if you're putting a number on my parentage, okay, this is how much my parentage costs. Here, have a good day. Because if you're not coming to the table on 50-50 and you're getting the courts involved on top of that, oh, okay. All right. You know what? Fuck it. You keep it. I'll give you your the quote unquote little $300, right? the quote unquote little $200. Oh, that little $200 is why you need it though. Why you need it? Clearly you need it. So humble yourself. Anyway. So right here, this is the tweet I saved. So this man says here, asking responsible black men to mentor today's lost soul is like asking a doctor to put rubbing alcohol on a cancerous tumor. The problem started with the child's conception and then the dysfunctional home he's brought up in. Quote unquote, they need you. No, they needed their mama to pick a better man to procreate with. They needed their biological dad to be a real man and take care of his responsibilities. They needed their community not to promote gangster culture. Every day, y'all fail these kids and then ask a good, productive, responsible black man to step up to the plate. My answer is no. What a this is a beautiful response right here. This is beautiful. You can't even argue that. You can't even argue that. But of course, you're gonna have ninjas still simping in the comment section. You know what I mean? This whole thing of relying on stepdads and strangers to raise all these bastards, and you're wondering why all these particularly when you're talking about young women, right? Particularly when you're talking about young women, now we're shocked that all these young women are so promiscuous at a young age, or why all these young women are all of a sudden they want to be 304s. You're like, how did this happen? She's being raised by strangers and stepdads and the brothers of the stepdads that have no ties to that bastard whatsoever, being around the kid. And you know the statistics around stepdads and abuse and all, bruh. And for some reason people cannot put two and two together. For some weird reason, why all these men are now gay, bruh. If we wanted to actually fix the situation, if you actually want to fix the situation, you would actually bring shame back. You would have it where women are actually starting to promote marry before you carry, right? Simple shit, right? And this whole shit about this child support shit, where basically child support is like the default, or what, like women are thinking about child support first before marriage. Like before even girlfriend and boyfriend, they're thinking about child support first. You're just like, before they even think about love, they're thinking about child support and food stamps and all this shit. This is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah, wash your hands. Wash your hands. This is why Mgtow exists. This is why SYS, but particularly SYSBM. This is why SYSBM exists. This is why these things exist. But like I said, if you'll explain this to these bastard creators, and they still won't get it. Yeah, here another shaming tactic. So leave them kids in the dust and keep hoping for a better tomorrow. You know what? Yes. Yes. And I'm leaving too, meaning I'm moving from the situation, because they act like most black men are the problem when it's literally a small percentage of black men procreating with most of the women of the community. It's like such a small percentage, and they're active, and women in that community are actively participating in that dual mating strategy type shit. You know what I mean? Get knocked up by the man that she really can't keep around, but then have somebody else raise, bruh. Because you could. He said, none of that lifted as we climb shit for me. Shout out to the sister here, man. Shout out to the sister here. Oh, Ayana Fakir, host of the. Oh, by the way, any black men that are listening to this, please follow the Zoe Williams The Zoe Williams pod, the Zoe Williams show. A lot of the information that I have today is because of Zoe Williams and Corey Holcomb. I'm not even finna cap the shows that they used to. I'm talking about Corey Holcomb and Zoe Williams would used to do shows together. Legendary, legendary. I don't know if a lot of them are still up on YouTube. They done some legendary podcasts together. If you guys get the chance, just search up Corey Holcomb, Zoe Williams, Mansions, and look at the shows they did together. Those were beyond legendary. Like if I was ever to give a black dudes or black men in particular, okay, what should I watch? I would even really put them on to I'll put them on to some of the stuff I've obviously put them on to, you know, Better Bachelor, right? Aaron Clary, CGA, those guys, right? Obviously, but then I would also put them on to Corey Holcomb and Zoe Williams. When they would go on mansions, they would have a mansion series. They would have a lot of guests come on, but it would be primarily Corey and Zoe Williams talking. Legendary. So much gems dropped about manhood, all of that. So whoever Butter Queen is, she's followed by Williams. So okay, so she must be a decent person. Dahudi Mahat Ra, another great teacher, another great teacher. So he's on the same page as homie. Look, all this stuff about, oh, these young boys need mentors, bruh. It's too late for that. It's too late for that. Way, way, way too late for that. Right here. This is beautiful. He said he's gonna make that. I gotta put that as my wallpaper or something. Because all this shit about, because at the end of it's 2024. Women choose who they procreate with. They are the choosers. They know women know exactly what they're doing out there. They know exactly what they're doing, and when it doesn't turn out their way, they know they can blame it on somebody else and they can get away with it. Anyway, man. Anyway, man. Let's search up something real quick. I'm gonna search up something real quick. Okay. Interesting. The Woman in Jesus' Life, a Discovery series. Interesting. Interesting. Let's read this real quick. Let's read this. This is very interesting. Here we have I guess a Christian-led website. It's called The Woman in Jesus' Life. It's fair to call Jesus radical for a number of reasons. One of them is his unprecedented precedented respect for women. When Jesus was, let me see, who was the article? Who wrote this article real quick though? I gotta find out who read this article. Tim Gustafson. Interesting. Let me read it, even though it's probably biased. But I have another related article that I could read also. It's fair to call Jesus radical for a number of reasons. One of them is his unprecedented respect for women. When Jesus was arrested, his disciples fled in fear. Included among the fleeing followers were rugged fishermen and at least one radical revolutionary. Only Peter and John summoned the courage to follow Jesus into his ordeal. But after Peter had denied Jesus for a third time that night, the Lord caught his eyes in a look that seared Peter's soul. And Peter, the man of action who had only recently taken a sword to the servant of the high priest, the one who hours earlier had told Jesus, I am ready to go to prison with you, and even to die with you, slunk away into the night too. John remained, as well as two religious leaders who quietly believed in Jesus. Nicodemus, along with Joseph, a wealthy member of the council that actually orchestrated Jesus' death, took Jesus' body down from the cross and buried him in Joseph's personal grave. Oh, but there were others who stayed to the end and beyond. They were the women. It was women who followed Jesus all the way to the cross. Luke, the historian, who gives us a detailed account of the crucifixion records. A large crowd trailed behind him, including many grief stricken women. As Jesus hung from that cross, we read Jesus' friends, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance watching. These women also followed Joseph to the tomb where the Lord's body was tenderly placed. Importantly, let me see. It was some of those women who went to the gravesite before anyone else. So here they talk about Jesus sat and talked openly with women. He approached them on his own. Once, when his disciples had gone into town to buy food, he asked the woman for a drink. This simply wasn't done by a respectable rabbi, and the woman was shocked. "You are a Jew," she said. "I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" He was asking her for a drink because he was busy smashing barriers and building bridges out of the rubble. Naturally, his enemies held this against the barrier breaking Messiah. When a certain immoral woman came to visit Jesus in the house of a Pharisee, his host grew indignant over her worship of Jesus. He thought to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know what kind of woman is touching him. She's a sinner. Jesus interrupted the religious man's self righteous thoughts and told him a story about forgiveness and love. Her sins, Jesus concluded, have been forgiven. Then he told the woman, "Go in peace." Okay, I'm going to focus on this paragraph. I'm going to focus on this paragraph real quick. Because these are the things that, because when I think about the men that low key are Mgtow, right? Because there are men that are, I'm talking about, there are celebrities that low key live a Mgtow life. And I already told you who some of them are. Low key, I'm talking about people that you low key they live a Mgtow life. Low key, because people think just going Mgtow, you're just abandoning women just in general. That's not true. Those are just men that are just like, look, I'll deal with women when I can, but I'm not going to get married. No cohabitation, no relationships. It's just going to be business from here on in. That's how I look at a lot of the MGTOWs, right? A lot of, especially a lot of MGTOWs I've seen are divorcees, guys that went through the ringer through family court, and they're just like, nope, this will not ever happen to me ever again. Now, watch this. I'm going to give you some examples of guys who are low key, they're MGTOWs. Cat Williams. Now, the last I checked, I don't think he's married. I don't think he's married, but most of his life, he's been single for the most part. Because I remember he was recently on the Shay Sharp show, and what he does as a person, he's very truthful. He's a barrier breaker himself, right? I would consider him a barrier breaker. And what's interesting with guys like that, what's interesting with guys like that, women actually love him. Really, women actually have nothing negative to say about Cat Williams. which is very interesting. But here, I'll give you another example. And for some reason, I don't know why conservatives hate this guy this much. Cause he's because I guess because he's like a hard like he's a like Bill Maher is a hardcore liberal. But I think what people need to do, because he's truly a person that lives free, meaning he doesn't advocate for marriage at all. I want you guys, if you guys have the chance, look at Bill Maher's his look at his bits when he's talking about marriage, or even when other women talk about marriage, he'd be in full agreement, right? It's like he advocates women stay single, men stay single. He's like, I'm not even for this shit. This is a man. He's not shaming women into to marrying, but according to people in the industry, he began all the hoes, and all the hoes love being with him. I'm talking about this is word of mouth from everybody. This is not coming from him. He don't even brag about that shit because that's not what he's lifting up in the air. His work is what he lifts up in the air. These are one of the main two when I think about Mgtow, or when I think about people in this any mainstream examples I can give. How about this here? And I know you'll love this example. Low key, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's doing it the right way. He's doing it. He's doing it the right way. Now, everybody know what time Leonardo DiCaprio is on now, because I think because there's a lot of hardcore MGTOW, like the hardcore MGTOWs, they be like, no woman, no, at all. I'd rather just be by myself, just completely by myself. But in my opinion, when you look at how Leonardo DiCaprio's living, you see his formula to success, and we all know what it is. After 25, he cuts him off, give him a little money, sayonara. And we all know he has those 304s on payroll. He has a system that works for him. These are the people that we must be looking. These are the people that that I admire. And by the way, all those older women that be talking crazy about Leonardo DiCaprio, trust me. You think the younger women are complaining? They not. And low key, they respect him that he could do something like that. They respect him that he could do that. Trust me. And right now, search up Michael B. Jordan, because recently he had something. He has said something about right here. So right here, Michael B. Jordan. He says he's lonely at times, but he is not looking for love. So we seen Michael B. Jordan. He's been in a couple relationships. Some of them didn't work out, and really, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's really not the highlight of his career. The relationships. It's not. The highlight of his career is the roles that he's played. Being considered the most handsome man on GQ, whatever, right? Being a sex symbol, being one of the best actors that we have right now, right? Being I don't know what the character, the boxing character, I don't know what his name, but one of the biggest franchises out right now, right? So right here, he says, Jordan, age 37, reflected on the worst part of himself, the quote unquote worst part of himself during Monday, March 11th episode of On Purpose with Jay Shetty podcast, confessing that his love for multitasking and juggling the balancing act of his many professions has led to a loneliness he can't escape. He says, there's a loneliness that I have. The responsibility that you have is isolating, and the weight is isolating. He shared the worst part of that is the feeling like nobody really understands, sometimes falling into the spaces of being alone, feeling alone. When asked how the sexiest man alive finds love, Jordan laughed and replied that he would revert back to the last question. So, the Creed star expanded on his answer, admitting, I go back and forth between wanting partnership and then not knowing what's the best partner for me. In other words, the vetting process in 2024 when it comes to the vetting process, it's not like how it used to be. Because now what you have to understand in 2024, we saw what happened to Jonathan Majors. The wrong woman, just the wrong one, just one. I'm talking about you done laid out your life perfectly how you wanted it to be. The wrong woman, just one wrong relationship is going to torpedo everything. Look at what happened to Jonathan Majors. So Jordan, who was named People's Sexiest Man Alive in 2020, noted that bringing a woman into his world isn't easy. It's not just I love you, you love me, he explained, adding that even though he believes it should be enough to just love your partner, it's not quite that simple. Jordan added that he's looking for someone to understand all of me and all that comes with me as well. His ideal mate would have to also understand his desire for that balance between wanting to be available and there for that person while I'm juggling everything else. So they put like a little bit of his dating history, whatever. Who cares about that? Who cares about all that? Jordan's hesitation to settle down also stems from his long career as an actor, which he said has delayed his adventurous side. There's also a part of me that really hasn't lived life yet. I haven't traveled for fun, he shared. I got to start living. I've sacrificed and I've zoned in for so long. Now, this is where the trap comes. I need to relax. I need to. This is where somebody like, this is where somebody should step in and be like, look, you're winning right now. There's nothing wrong with keeping on winning. And just because you don't have the relationship part figured out, that's not what we judge as men. As a man is judged by his action, his deeds. We all know, we like, whether or not a man was, with his wife or if he cheated, that's irrelevant. People are going to look back at the deeds of the man, not what happened with some bitches. Because they're just too much of an X factor. So you really can't judge how a man interacts with the woman in his life. It's really irrelevant. It's really irrelevant, really, in the grand scheme of things. And once men realize that a lot of the problems that you have is because a lot of men are putting that first, finding a woman first. You know what I mean? Putting the relationship first. I believe as a man, that's not what you're supposed to do. Now, let me go back to the Jesus story right here. Let me see if I missed any comments. He said DiCaprio probably has each 304 meetup with his lawyer. Exactly. And there's a couple NBA players, I don't want to put their names out there, but they do it the correct way too. Meaning they're married, but they do things, they do it the correct way to where they're making sure their 304s sign NDAs and all that stuff, but like they make sure they all their 304s are in check. So there's plenty of NBA players and plenty of there's some athletes or some of those people, they do it the right way. So right here, I like this story right here where I think this story is the one where basically the woman came to Jesus, right? And she was using her hair to wash his feet or something, or basically the woman came to him and basically was giving him his props, right? But when you look at that story, when I'm gonna read it again. I'm gonna read it again. When a certain immoral woman, quote unquote immoral woman, came to visit Jesus in the house of a Pharisee, his host grew indignant over her worship of Jesus. He thought to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know what kind of woman is touching him. She's a sinner. Now, this is just in short form version. In other words, the man was hating on Jesus because the hoe came out of nowhere and was uh giving him his poppers. This is the side that many men don't want to talk about because as much as we like to talk about 304s and this and blah blah blah, a lot of men be hating. There was an athlete, right? Terrell Owens. He caught a lot of flack, really, not necessarily because they thought that he was mean or whatever. Terrell Owens used to have all the bad white hoes come through for him. He was dating all the bad white hoes at the time. In the early 2000s, it was still pretty taboo for black athletes to really do stuff like that. Okay. So you would have a lot of those conservatives, the conservatives I like to talk about, right? The Pharisees, the law, the Jews, right? Those are the conservatives. No, and oh, what is this woman doing? Don't you know she's a this? What are you doing with this 304? What do you mean? What am I doing with this 304? That's none of your business. They said the man thought to himself, if this man was a prophet, he would know what kind of woman is touching him. She's a sinner. No, Jesus knew exactly what kind of woman she was. Jesus' role was not to put the hoe in place because the hoe was in place when she saw Jesus. This is what when people want to talk about frame or masculine frame and all this. I believe this is masculine frame right here, right? And what the guy did in terms of judging the woman for giving another man props. And really, he was too prideful to say that he was jealous because he doesn't get a whole lot of women just coming up to him and giving him his props off of GP. And what you see throughout the scriptures is a lot of women coming to Jesus, giving him his propers, right? But he's not really paying it no mind. He's not lifting that up in the air. He'll give a bitch a poem and then that's it. But you had the Pharisees, right? You had the Jews, the clergymen, these people. A lot of them, those who you would consider the conservatives, they were doing a lot of player hating. This is the problem that I have with conservatives. They do a lot of player hating and they disguise it as they disguise it by virtue signaling, right? So you take this quote here: if this man were a prophet, he will know what kind of woman is touching him. Basically trying to call into the questioning the credibility of Jesus Christ, right? Questioning the credibility and using using his self-righteousness to disguise his hate for the situation. And right here, it even says here, Jesus interrupted the religious man's the conservative, right? Jesus interrupted the conservative man's self-righteous thoughts and told him a story about forgiveness and love. Her sins, Jesus concluded, have been forgiven. Now, he said he told the woman, go in peace. Now, what the conservatives do is they will chastise a 304, right? They go on the whatever podcast, talk about you're not wifey material, and think they're doing something. And really, they're just wasting everybody's time. Let a hoe be a hoe. That's what I know. This might be a weird interpretation that I'm doing. He didn't even tell the hoe stay around. He just said, thank you. Go in peace. Meaning, let her be her. The conservatives, what they like to go on these podcasts, the whatever podcast, whatever, particularly the whatever pod. They like to keep coming back to the whatever podcast to virtue signal on porn stars and they think they're doing something. Because if you actually wanted to do something, we could actually go into the root of, okay, why did you because if they actually cared, right? Instead of being so self-righteous, we could actually go to the root of the problem. Okay, I wonder, why do we have an increase of rise of women wanting to be in OnlyFans? Let's actually do some research. Let's see what kind of homes they came out of. Let's see if they grew up with what kind of dad they grew up with, what kind of mom they grew up with. And then when you do the research, you find out, oh, her mom kind of rolled that way. Oh, maybe we need to do something about that. Maybe we shouldn't be promoting this whole stepdaddyism stuff, right? Maybe we shouldn't be maybe we shouldn't have promoted women having a career and all this stuff, because now we have all these women being raised by strangers, and now they're being led a certain way, and now they're on a path, they're on a 304, they've been on a 304 path since puberty. But we can stop it if we do stuff like this. No. What the conservatives like to do, they like to virtue signal, and then basically any other podcast that be bringing 304s on, they be judging the podcast, be like, why do you have all these 304s on? Because that's all they are out there, bro. That's all there are out there. They're everywhere. The anti Anthony Edwards. Oh man, he did a mic drop at the end. He said they're trying to say I can fix her. Low key, because that's what they're trying to do. Low key, that's what they're trying to do. When you're looking at this verse, when you're looking at this story, here the conservative, he's player hating on Jesus because a 304 was given Jesus his props. And Jesus wasn't even really, he was just like, thanks, go in peace. It was nothing. It was nothing. There was nothing there. And so people think I don't even look at it as this is a story about forgiveness and love. I don't look at it like it's just look, this is just a woman coming through, giving a ninja some props, giving a ninja his flowers. Now, what happens is you'll have a man who'll amass a following because he has a talent or something, a skill or something. And he'll naturally attract 304s. Naturally. When you're when you're a leader, when you have like a purpose, a path, hoes are naturally they're going to gravitate towards you. And then on top of that, you're going to have the onlookers. And a lot of these so-called based conservative dudes that like to call themselves based, a lot of them are only on that path because they weren't cool enough really in the secular world. So they're just falling back on the conservative path. And now they're shaming 304s and all this stuff. And really, they couldn't really fit in with the crowd that they always wanted to be with in the first place. Trust me. I've seen this. Trust me, I've seen this. And really, when you look at a lot of the conservatives, particularly now that a lot of them are turning on the RP space, which I predicted that was going to happen, which I predicted this. You're really seeing what their strategy is. They think they can shame women into they think them shaming women they think that's a viable dating strategy in terms of, oh, women are finally going to act right because no. A woman is going to do what she's going to do. It's not your job as a man to be regulating all that. And what she decides to do, especially to another man that you don't know, it's none of your business. A lot of you conservatives need to start telling these 304s, go in peace. And the more you say that, the more you realize there's so this shit about, oh, we're gonna turn these 304s into housewives. No. Tell these hoes to go in peace. Please. for for the love of your deity that you claim that you respect, but that's a whole nother story. A lot of you need to tell these hoes to go in peace. Now I'm continuing to read from the article. Remember, too, the story in John 8, a woman had been caught in the act of adultery. Significantly, the man was not brought before Jesus, only the woman. The religious leaders wanted to use the occasion to trap Jesus into either condoning the woman's execution by stoning or letting her go without punishment. Jesus definitely got to the heart of the matter, pointing out the hypocrisy in her accusers and defending the woman's integrity without compromising the law. In just the days before the Lord's crucifixion, Mary, the sister of Martha, anointed Jesus' feet with expensive perfume. Oh, so that was a different story. So that means that makes it even worse. That means that first story that I put up there, that means that guy was just straight up playing and player hating just off GP, just because the woman literally just came through and was worshiping Jesus, which happened. I'll give you even another example. This is why you'll see a lot, particularly white Caucasian men. I've noticed this, and I can't act like I don't see it. Whenever a black athlete gets into some kind of legal trouble, any black entertainer, but particularly black athletes, they get into any type of legal trouble where they're accusing the athlete of sexual assault or anything, or even a high school star. They bring the torches and pitchforks. They don't even ask, okay, People talk about, oh, the women don't um they operate with, oh, they don't do probable cause. But look, if they get if a black man gets accused of any heinous crimes like that, when women are involved, particularly Caucasian men do not give a lot of black men the benefit of the doubt, especially when you're talking about in the past. A lot of the stuff that we're dealing with is because you have these so-called self-righteous dudes that are quote unquote protecting women, but really they were afraid to ask the real questions on, okay, why were you with that guy alone again? Okay, so you're saying that he did this to you, but you contacted him how many times before? The player hating, the player hating, player hating has been the downfall when we talk about the rise of Me Too. The player hating by other men really is one of the key factors on why Me Too is even a thing. On why many athletes, because of the black athletes in the past that didn't get the benefit of the doubt, now they're shocked why a guy like Trevor Bauer or Matt Ariza were struggling to get back into the league, because it's just years of player hating, making laws, but really they were player hating, disguising it with self-righteousness, but they were really player hating because they couldn't get no hoes themselves. Right? Now we have these laws that were set up by men, mind you. Not really women made the push, but at the end of the day, men dropped the ball. Now we have a dilemma. Now we have a dilemma to where now no athlete, no man, no matter the race, no matter the background, they're not safe from an allegation. No matter, I'm talking about no matter the race, no matter the background, nobody's safe from an allegation. Years of player hating, years of creating laws in the guise of helping women, which really you were just using it as a dating strategy to make yourself look like the good guy. I can go on and on that one. Let's see some of these. You will always be a 304. 304s are the same as dealers and kid touchers. They never change and they have a bad reputation. Oh man. He said in Jamaica, if you get caught effing a goat, you're going to be called goat man for life. That's how it works. I like I'm looking at these old stories with the Jesus and the hoes, and it's always the hoes are coming to him in a Pharisee or what's another word for that? Hold on for a sec. Ah, so the Pharisees, that's basically that. So we could use that as another word for conservative. So the conservatives at that time, then they would call them Pharisees, right? Anytime hoes came to Jesus off GP, he wasn't looking for the hoes. They came to him. They would start player hating, calling her a sinner. Yes, we already know these hoes are out. These dudes that be why does Fresh and Fit have all these hoes out? They're everywhere. We already know what they are. We know what they are. right here says, yet we have no record of any of these religious leaders accusing Jesus of any sexual improprieties. Neither was the accusation made during any of his trials. This is striking. If his religious enemies had thought Jesus was guilty of such a thing, they certainly would have leveled the charge. It's likely that everyone knew Jesus' personal integrity in this matter, so it was implausible to make the accusation. Because Jesus regularly ate and drank with sinners, he was accused of being a glutton and a partier, but never was he accused with being inappropriate with a woman. So perhaps it shouldn't surprise us, even when his disciples had deserted him, that certain women followed him to the cross with a loyalty as profound as their grief. Perhaps the women had a more complete understanding of who Jesus really was because they more keenly sensed the difference in him. They certainly seemed to be the first to grasp what he was doing. And I can relate this to this in this instance. When we're looking at the RP space, just in general, right? Um, people, I don't know if people are noticing, but when you're seeing like everything that the women and the feminists and the so-called trad con women, the only thing that they're talking about is our space. That's all they have to talk about. And the so-called incels, right? The incels that they're that these so-called losers, right? But all their tweets is about us. All their efforts and focus is how to shut us down. Even though we're all we're doing is giving men, we're just giving men an information on how things work. That's all we're doing. Corey Holcomb, that's all he's doing. he's just he's just giving the info. Now, what's interesting is when women are given the info, the dirty truth about men, right? They're given all the information. They know about the divorce. They know about how to protect themselves. They already did the statistic. They show that most women in relationships have a backup plan. 70% of them in marriages have a backup plan. If women are on the street alone, they have mace, right? If we find if we're walking with a woman and we find out she has mace in her bag, we don't shame her for it. When a woman is walking down the street and she decides to cross the street because she sees a group of men, we don't antagonize her for doing it. We understand. But for some reason, we are, the so-called losers, right? The RP, we're so-called losers, but yet that's all they talk about. That's all they talk about. Andrew Tate is all they talk about. They could talk about anything else. There's way more important things happening than Andrew Tate talking about his Bugattis and his his lifestyle and all this stuff. There's more important things to talk about. But yet they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. Usually when you're a man that walks a different path, women can't help themselves. I don't know what it is. Like I'll do dude in my dude I'm putting too much church business out there, but in my country bands, right? I just there's my the part that I play in that band is very minimal, very very minimal, and I prefer it that way. I just come in with my licks, come through, do my parts, I'm out. Easy money, right? That's what I do. We got two lead guitarists, bass, drums, two lead singers. One of them is one of the lead guitarists. I just do my keys part and I'm out. And I will still I'll be by myself. And you'll still have people going out their way. I'm not the only black person in the country band. The country drummer is black too. They will still go out their way to be like, hey, do you want to try this instead? Do you want to do this? Do you want to drink? Do you want, and you're just like, I'm good. Hey, maybe you should do this more. Oh, maybe you should look like you're more into it. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Th- like when you're doing something different or where you're just not, it seems to me every time in my life where I don't want to be at I don't, it'll be places I don't want to be in. And that's where I get the most approaches. Right. And you'll just be like, when you think differently, people think because it's like when you think differently, low key the women respect you off GP. And I'm not saying just think differently because of women, but that friction that you're gonna get, that initial um anger that you face from women, normie men, and all this stuff, just from thinking a different way, it's really love. It's not love. I mean, they low key respect you. Trust me. I don't know how I can sense it, but they respect people that think a different way, that are not just going with the flow, that are just not just normies. When you're not thinking like a normie, they low key are in. It's not necessarily that they. Well, I'll put it like this. It intrigues them. It intrigues the average person. Not even just when we're talking about women in general. I'm talking about the average person. They get intrigued when they meet a person, when a guy like me comes along and I'm like, R. Kelly didn't do nothing wrong. It intrigues them that somebody like me would say something like that. It intrigues them where it's just like, or when you'll be like, look, man, you'll even say, you'll say something regular. You'd be like, you'd be like, man, I wish all black people would vote Republican just one time, just to just to switch shit up. You know what I mean? You'll say something different from the norm. Just just you'll be surprised. Like you'll be surprised. Like throughout my life, bro, I've experienced this because I've always been a person that I've always been a person that I'm not just gonna accept something at face value. I gotta investigate it. I'm always gonna ask the tough questions. And I believe with this particular space, we have to start asking the tough questions. And the solution is not going on the whatever podcast or on Fresh and Fit to start shaming 304s. That's not it. I'm sorry, that's not it. You need to accept things for what it is. And if you really want to start going to the root of the problem, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like the root, the actual root of the problem. You see, right here. Let's take, for example, right here. Okay. So on Twitter, you see how you'll have a man like this, you know, different from the rest of the responses where he's like, "Nah, I'm not helping. I'm not mentoring a bastard," right? Now, in real life, most men fold. I'm telling you this right now. Most men fold. It's easy to say it on Twitter, and I'm glad he said it. But I'm talking about because I've been to these black events. I've been to the Juneteenth events and all this stuff. When they start making that call, most men fold to what the women are saying. Most men fold once they start talking that, oh man, black men need to we well, they our young black men, they need mentors. Most men fold. because there's a backlash that comes with it. There's backlash that comes with it. Most men are not ready for that backlash. Now, unfortunately for me, like unfortunately for me, I'm the type of kid like when I was in high school, I'm talking about this was a church that my parents were trying to move up the ranks in and everything, and my siblings were at the same church, right? And I was the same person to when somebody asked me, "Oh, so what's your belief?" I'm like, I don't believe in any of this, and I said that in front of everybody, like, and I didn't even say it in the I swear I didn't say it in a hateful tone. I'm just like, I kind of said it like scratching my head. I was like, well, I don't really hold this religion up in the air, but you guys can do what you want, but I'm just gonna do. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna chill right here. People don't understand the backlash of doing stupid shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's more than just deflection from the shaming language. It's more than just shaming 304s. That's not it. We got to start asking the tough questions. We got to stop just taking the thing at face value. You know what I mean? Not necessarily revealing the game plan, but more like, okay, somebody asks you, why are you not going to mentor? Why would you not mentor anybody? I'm like, look, man, the damage is just say the damage is already done. Just say it like that. The damage is already done. Now, if they're inquisitive and they start asking you, you can explain. You'll be surprised. Some women would be more receptive of what you say one on one when you tell them uh your side of the story, and when you're not full of hate when you're talking about it, and just show them the facts. You'll be surprised who you reach. It's happened to me in so many occasions where you'll have a woman, she'll talk to you and she thinks you're crazy at first, but you're literally like, nah, this is what it is. But you're talking to her one on one. I'm talking about without the influence of the normies. You're talking to her one on one, and not at your workplace. I'm not talking about your workplace. Don't do nothing stupid like that. Just in general. And you start talking. You just give the side like, look, this is what it is. You'll be surprised who the people that are receptive of it, the people that aren't receptive of it. You'll be surprised. I believe when we look at the stories of Jesus, and particularly his interactions with the women, it really looks like that Jesus kind of lived a life of freedom. And this is why I say that Jesus was low key Mgtow, because he was a man that created his own path and really didn't let the woman that came to him. He wasn't a person that was searching for women. He was a person that was searching for a purpose and a and try and focus on making his own path. And whatever woman come through along with it, he's not going to reject or praise him that much. He's just going to be like, okay, these are just the women passing by. And I think that's the key. If you can find a way to compartmentalize where where the woman rank in your life, right? How do you deal with them? Do you want to deal with them at all? Do you want to have sex with them? Do you do not want to have sex with them? Do you just want them to be around? It's all up to you. And Jesus' case, he just let them be. That's all he did. He just let them hoes be. He wasn't going around shaming 304s for being a 304. That's what I really took from it. And this is why, unfortunately 304s gravitate to Jesus' story, but what they don't understand is the 304s They want a person like that to commit to them, and that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen because at the end of the day, he knows what they are. The hoes are always going to think they're winning until it's too late. It is what it is on that end. But anyway, let's move on. Let's see what else we got in the comments. He said a lot of goat men in town. Said I have some family in Jamaica. Yeah, like in terms of mentoring, those days are over, man. In an ideal world, what you would like to have is most men to be under the tutelage of where they're already influenced by their mom and their father. And then once they go out in the world, if they have any questions, they reach out to you first. It's not necessarily you looking for dudes to. I don't look at it like that. Like if you're like in terms of a mentor, I don't really look at it as you know the older men are seeking men to mentor. I look at it as the young men that actually need questions. They reach out to you, so you're not necessarily influencing what they want to ask you. I rather them reach out to me in passing. You know what I mean? Not necessarily, oh, we okay, we have all these mentors here. Now find a kid to no. In the ideal world, those kids should already be influenced by their dad and their mom. And then whatever question they may need, they find somebody that they can gravitate to, somebody that they just gravitate to, just naturally. And they ask that person a question. If he doesn't have the answer, he refers them to somebody else in an ideal world. Because I don't believe in just if you're an older dude, you just need to find a younger person to put under. Nah, it's got to be natural. It's not like some call to actions. We need a mentor. Nah, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So anyway, let's hit one more story if I can find one. And we're gonna go over this. We're gonna go over this. So this tweet went viral. So you got a confessions page, right? HBCU confessions. So here you have HBCU confessions, where you got people from HBCUs, whether it be students, teachers, faculty members, staff, people of that ilk, confess about their deepest, darkest stuff that they've done on campus, right? So here you have a black female counselor, most likely that is, admit that she didn't write somebody's son a college recommendation letter. She only does this for black girls because she believes they face more roadblocks than black males. So right here, she says, had a mother get mad because I won't write her son a college recommendation letter. I only do so for black girls. They face more roadblocks than black males. And we have to show them how sisterhood works. Now, all this talk about the white man is pushing you down and this and that and systemic racism, but what are you doing here? This is worse than that. How can you complain about systemic racism and you're intentionally holding back black men and you're a black woman? And then you're going to say black men are the problem. And then at the same time, you're going to talk brag about how black women are the most educated and black men need to keep up, and you're actively holding back a black man because you don't want to write him a college recommendation letter because he's a black man. And then they're these gonna be the same people complaining about systemic racism, how white people are doing this and that to them. What? This is crazy. And I've always had a inkling, a suspicion, stuff like this was happening behind the scenes. And I don't even think I think the opposite is happening with when we're talking about the white female counselors. I think there are a lot of white men falling through the cracks, and then they're only giving the recommendation letters to people because they're part of a alphabet crew, or because they're it's a brown skin kid and she feels bad, right? Because of her quote unquote white privilege, or she gives the recommendation letter to only a young feminist woman because she respects her young feminazism. You know what I mean? I think this is also happening on the other side too. This is in terms of, especially when it comes to, when we talk about college recommendation letters, I because I didn't really care about college when I was in high school. I didn't like ask for anybody for like a college recommendation letter. I know who I would ask though if I had to, but I felt that it was like pointless because I believe that if you were really that dude, people gonna come and find you. And I'm looking at my grades, I'm like, I don't even think I'm gonna go to college. You know what I mean? But this is interesting for her to admit that she literally admitted to systematically holding back a black man from trying to advance in the world because she's trying to show them how sisterhood works. And this is going to be the same quote unquote pro black woman that's going to complain about systemic racism. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. But yeah, that tweet, it went viral. HBCU confessions. Somebody said up top, not surprised. Most of you hair hats be misandrous. Oh man. So right here, you have a female that replies here and says, I feel this. It's okay for some things to be reserved only for black girls in a world where there are few and far between. She's condoning this behavior. And her name is the Diabolical Professor. And if I check her profile, she, like I said, people like to talk about the hood chicks and whatnot. I'm telling you, this is a different breed that are coming up because they're educated now, so quote unquote educated, and they think that they're better than the average person. And the problem is, it's not like most of them are not even majoring in something that actually helps people. most of most of let me see. I have a little bit of time, but I don't know if I can search it up. Let's see. Is- Let me see if I can search it up real quick. I'm going to search up the category of the degrees that black women actually get. Let's see here. Because I remember they showed like a graph of all the degrees that all the black women were actually getting, and most of it showed basically like the degrees were basically most of the degrees that they had, it was a graph. It showed that most of it was like under like psychology and like social sciences. I don't know if they show the graphs, but they show like that basically most of them are not even in the STEM groups. But I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to find. I don't think I'll be able to find that. I'll probably come up for that for later on today in the middle of the day. But yeah, you got this tweet right here, man. You have a black woman basically admitting that she systemically held back a black man. Like if this was a white, like I said, if this was a white woman that said, had a mother get mad at me because I wouldn't write her son a college recommendation letter. I only do this for white girls or white boys. They face more roadblocks than black males. If a white mother said this, they would try to get that woman doxxed. They would try to get that woman doxxed, or that white dude, or if a white dude says something similar, that white dude would have gotten doxxed. Now, this tweet right here shows Undead Chronic has this thing where he will say that most women don't see most men as human. So right here, look at this tweet. She said, "I don't see a problem here at all. Black boys have already had at least 5 coaches in their face before they walk across the stage. Who they should be getting that from? Girls do not." And miss, most black boys are not on the football team. It's only a certain for the sports team. It's only a certain select dudes that can make a basketball team, that can make a football team. And I'm gonna stick with football and basketball because that's the only ones that black women really pay attention to. It's only a certain amount of those of black dudes on that team. Now, in terms of coaches recruiting them, that's probably gonna be only two kids. I'm talking about probably one or two kids that is actually gonna get an email from a D2 coach when we're talking about recruitment. That's only a select few. You see, when you see a woman make a tweet like this, she's talking about one dude or two dudes that she knows. And for some weird reason, none of the other men count. None of the other men count. Most black boys don't have coaches even from D3 or JUCO emailing them. Bro, I mean, when you see a tweet like that, you're like, what kind of reality is she living in? I'm like, most black men can't even make a team. Most black boys don't even make the teams, the athletic teams at their high school. What is she talking about? Having coaches in their face? What do you mean for recruitment? That's only reserved for a select few black men. We're talking about 5 coaches in there. 5? That small percentage of men doing sports is lucky to get a courtesy email to get a campus visit if they're even ranked. The only reason why I had a coach call me specifically was because I inquired first about a JUCO that I didn't know about, and the coach ended up calling me back. But that's because they were literally they needed numbers. They needed numbers to fill up because they had no numbers. It was a JUCO community college in New York that a coach wanted me to play soccer in. But dude, most kids don't even get a chance to play in just to play to start. Wow. But this just shows you the mentality. She just thinks that like this is why, this is why you can't. I think when you have women like this is why I'm scared when I see certain women in authority, because they just have this mentality. Oh, oh, all men have this privilege and blah. No, they don't. No, they don't. Like they do. Wow. Wow. It's just because it's like the only men that exist to them in their mind are the whoever the top two athletes are in the high school. If they only look at those guys that are getting all the eyes stared at by the women, and nobody else matters, nobody else exists. This is why we can't have like there's certain positions of power I don't even think you can put women in, because in her mind she thinks she making sense. Let me see. Let's see her Twitter, what her Twitter looks like. Let's see how old she is. Yeah, like because but particularly when you're talking about girls like that, they only look at who the top dudes are at the school, and nobody else exists. I'm talking about, and if they're in a place they don't see what they're looking for, they're like, nah, I can get it from somewhere else. Man, this is sad. This is really, this is honestly, this is sad. This is sad. I can't believe this tweet exists where it's just like, yeah, Undead. I'm sorry, man. People want to act like Undead Chronic is extreme or blah. Like he's just right. He's right. It's just in their mind, they just don't even see men as human. Talking about 5 coaches in men's. Dude, what are you talking about? Dude, even 5-star recruits, even 5-star, even like, even 5-star recruiters is like, it's not, it doesn't work that way. There's only a few 5-star recruits, a few ranked players out of like, we got to see the stat, how many millions play sport. And even then, on whatever school you're at, that's still a small percentage of the men that make the sports. Now, because the more I grow up, the more I realize why I would see men cry when they wouldn't make certain sports teams. I used to be like, or you'll be like, you have you ever been like in a situation like, I remember when I was a sophomore in my soccer team, right? But I was like, I made varsity as a freshman when I was for my soccer team, right? So I was already set. So technically I didn't really have to take tryouts so seriously, but I would be playing with certain players in trials and I'd be like, why is this guy playing? Or I would see certain people try out for basketball just in watching. I'm like, why is this guy trying? Because they know if they don't play sports, they ain't gonna get no shot, because women are just gonna just look past them like they don't exist. Like you'll wow. Because the older I get and the more, because obviously high school doesn't last forever, right? The older I get, right? And the more I see how women look at certain only they'll just look at certain people. And if you don't play no instrument, if you don't play if you don't play a sport, if you don't got no clout, you don't got no money, like but specifically you ain't got no clout, no kind of status, women basically just look at you like you don't exist. Like you're just like wow. Because yeah, this is hold on for a second. It seems like they want to be put on a shirt. I'll say this. I think because it seems like to be it's every because it's pushed by entertainment as well. Every woman wants to be the person where she puts on the football jersey and the guy's the star on the team, but they're the girlfriend of the star on the team, so they have the guy's jacket, the guy's football jersey, whatever, and all that. I think that's what it is. Or I'll see certain people like I'm like, you're good at soccer. Why won't you or you're good at this sport. Why are you trying out for basketball? Or you're good at this sport. Why are you trying out for football? That's the only thing that exists in a woman's mind. They trying to get that woman's attention. They're gonna try to make it in a sport that gets a woman's attention. You know what I mean, man? It is what it is. He said, "Facts, Chris. I hardly played any varsity snaps myself playing football during my senior year of high school. You're really lucky to get anything back, even from a below average D1 school. They like women don't understand how this stuff works. They for her to make a tweet like that where she just thinks the average dude is just now she probably got smashed out by the guy that was the 5-star recruit at her school, and she just thinks that all men have it like at that because that's the only dudes that she's looking for. Everybody else does not exist in her mind. This is what then like a girl like this will end up being a daycare worker. A girl like this will end up being a teacher, a counselor. And how can you be a person that's over the authority of students and you're looking at most of them as losers off rip? I don't know, man. Also, yeah, right there, I remember somebody showing me that study where basically where the female teachers give girls higher grades than the dudes. Like I'm telling you, there's something to that. Especially when we're talking about those female teachers, man. There's something to that. There's something to that, man. And people are gonna talk about like the black feminism to white supremacy pipeline. But I'm telling you, even on the other side, I'm telling you, even on the other side, I think you got these feminazis, the guilty white girls, right? I think they're doing the same thing to a lot of white men. I'm talking about particularly the white men that they just could they that they deem as below them. I think there's a lot of white dudes falling through the cracks because you have certain counselors that are just looking at these dudes, right? And they're just like, ill. No, I'm not finna help. I'm not finna help him out. Like, but for her to say, like, what do you, I've never even heard no white person, no, I haven't even heard no racist white person just talk about like even a racist white person knows that how the sports thing works. Not everybody, nope. Scholarships are few and far between. Not everybody get a scholarship. Even a racist white dude knows that just because you black, that doesn't mean you're an athlete. Even racist, like even a racist white people know that most black people don't play sports. Like this is crazy. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. I mean, I don't. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. this is this is crazy. Like that's the only because that's the only thing she sees. So right here, this guy says, "You just exposed yourself. You just admitted the only black men you noticed in college were on a team, which leads me to believe you was in the locker rooms getting plunged." Yo, facts, facts. She wasn't the 5-star recruits like main squeeze, but she was in them locker rooms getting trains ran on her. That I believe. That I believe. I believe that. Because you should see some of the girls that brag about getting I'm talking about I'm talking about Gorlock looking women. Talking about they got a train ran on them by the Georgia team. And you're looking at the girl, you're like, her? How? How did they even get hard for that? Yeah, I'm talking about you're looking at the girl and you're just like, I, you're like, even as a if you consider yourself a below average man, you'll look at the girl bragging about the D1 team, football team running a train on her, and you're looking at the girl. You're like, there's nothing attractive on that girl. How? How? But she's not lying. Yeah, she getting clapped. She getting those are the only dudes that exist in her mind. This is why man, I'm telling you, this is why people really, really need to revisit. We really you because even dude, even racist white people know that's not how this shit works with sports. There's only like a few scholarships. Even I'm talking about even the most racist, even the hillbillies, the racist hillbillies, they know that's not how this stuff works. But like I said, in a woman's mind, the only men that exist are those dudes. Nobody else matters. Yikes. We got to make sure we got to keep track of what job she do. You got to make sure because also these women they make up most of the nurses. You wondering why some people are treated better in certain emergency rooms and classrooms, and you're just wow. Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people are calling her out. They're like, damn, they're like, this girl is a clown. This girl is just straight up a clown. This might be the most moronic thing. Yeah, it's yeah. But like I think you know what, man? I'll even go as far as to think this, man. This is why when we're talking about why is there no black men playing baseball? Why is there no black men playing hockey and all this? This is part of it, bro. This is part of it. This is part of it. Man, this is sad. This is just sad. This is sad, man. This is sad. Honestly, this is sadder than this original quote in terms of the son not writing the son the college recommendation letter. This is honestly sadder than that because I could give a fuck about a letter. This probably gonna. I'm like just find a white woman and write you a recommendation letter. They'll do it, dude. They'll find a white lady with prestige at the school to write you a letter. She'll be more than happy to do it in 2024. She'll be if you're a black man, just find a white woman to write you the letter. She'll be like, oh my god, this is a pleasure. You really don't have to worry about the Boomquishas and the Sharkeishas in the counselor's office. You don't really got just find a white woman to write a recommendation letter for you. And this is a recommendation letter to get into a HBCU. You're not supposed to be people might be mad at me by this, and I was so happy Corey Holcomb said the same thing because I always felt this way. Look, I respect. Okay, if you want to go to HBCU, really the only reason for you to go to a HBCU is if you are a black person and you just want to be around your people. I trust me, I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. Me myself, I don't even like being around a whole lot of white people a lot of times. I get that. Trust me. But if I were to give a recommendation, I would not be advising people to particularly, even I'm talking about black man or black woman. I would say if you ask me for advice, I'd say leave the HBCUs alone. Leave the HBCU because really the only way you can get something out of it is if you join a fraternity and then you end up getting a job later on in life and you can find the whoever was running the fraternity and hope to God that he's running a firm, a business firm or a law firm, and you were in the same frat and he can get you a job. But outside of that, there's really nothing you can gain from going to a HBCU. And there's no disrespect to the HBCUs, but there's really nothing you can gain. I'm telling you from an objective person. It's not a matter of, oh, because I grew up around a lot of white people. Most of the schools I went to is mostly white people. So, I'm catering to it's not, I'm telling you it's not. I promise you it's not that. Because I don't even be hanging around them like that. But I'm telling you in terms of if you want to go places in life, I don't think HBCU is the plan. I don't think HBCU is the plan, in my opinion. Unless if you're just a man, or if you're a man or a woman, and you're a boy or a girl, and you just want to be around your people, fine. But that to me, that's not worth putting yourself in all that debt to go to college just because you want to be around your people. You need to have a plan, and if your plan is to go to a certain level, HBCU is not it. I'm just telling you guys that right now. People ask for an opinion on that. There's really no point in going to a HBCU. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. So I'm gonna sign off on that because it's about to hit 1:30. I went 1 hour and 30 overtime as per usual. As per usual. Anyway, man, shout out to Garrett for the 10-piece in the beginning. I appreciate that. Shout out to Pyro. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna sign off on this end. Conservatives, if you're listening, Jesus Christ was Mgtow. Get over it. Shout out to Carlos X for chiming in. Rogue Dalek, thank you for chiming in. Calvin Ospina, thank you for chiming in. A Pharaoh Trout, thank you for chiming in. Thank you guys for chiming in. Trevor, if you were listening, I know you were probably listening. Thank you for chiming in, man. Thank you, Pyro, man. Thank you for real. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you guys, man. And I'm gonna sign off on this.